Hey there everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ark Survival Ascended. As always, I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Raphael Stang? Anyway, he is apparently the CEO of Nitrado, and his response to all the drama regarding making your own servers, hosting your own servers, all that stuff that we all know about. So let's cue up the music, and we'll get right to it. All right, first off, he posted quite the large statement here. And we're going to read through it and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Dear colleagues, you may have thoughts about the criticism that some are currently voicing on X.com, formerly Twitter, and Reddit about us exclusively renting servers for ASA. As you've already quoted here on Slack at Survival Servers, sums it up nicely. We were not the first to establish exclusives, but the competitor who now postulates that they are against exclusives. As always, when it comes to money, not everyone is precise with the truth anymore. We simply have better cards in the game because of our size and reach, quantity of customers. And we are playing them now for the sake of over 4 million people who have an account with us, as well as all the employees at Nitrado and Apex Hosting. Before I elaborate further on this, let's look at the facts. We have not prevented anyone from starting their private server and playing with their friends. We have not prevented large communities from doing the same. We have created a process specifically for that. Our contract and technical implementations only prevented other commercial hosters from hosting the game without sharing the risk, the production costs. Did the way the game was supposed to protect our interests create problems? Yes. The initial Steam login implementation in the public server was not ideal. We know that now. It wasn't intentional, and now it's fixed. The risk of production costs I'm talking about was, and still is, carried only by us and by no other hoster. We made a $4 million loan to Snail and Wildcard, and have deferred several monthly bills totaling hundreds of thousands of euros to Snail Games so ASE's official servers do not go offline, and ASA can be finished. Without this loan, ASA would never have existed. We made sure that the developers of ASA would get their wages, and we were the last chance that this would happen in reasonable time. We can all now read on X.com the arguments of those who are angry that ASA servers can only be rented from us. You can read that this privilege, the exclusivity, is supposedly unethical. The language implies that a computer game is a common good, and access should not be subject to market rules. Let's not get carried away. We are not regulating access to food or water. We are part of a regulation that honors the fact that we have taken an economic risk in co-financing a computer game so that it can see the light of day. Let's look at a comparable industry, the movie industry. If Netflix, Disney, or HBO co-finances a movie production, who has the sole right to market that movie? Right. Netflix, Disney, or HBO. That's perfectly normal, and no one would think of criticizing that. But in gaming, this is supposed to be unethical. That's gross nonsense. I understand that some customers would instead rent from other hosters. That's their right to want to, just as it is their right to be angry that they can't. As of now, we have almost 20,000 servers rented. The number of those who are angry now is disproportionate to the number of our satisfied customers. I took the trouble to look closely at many of the loudest critics. I see two main groups. A, content creators who have not worked with us before or who no longer work with us. They make a lot of money doing what they do, through their reach on YouTube, and especially through the affiliate commissions that they get from our competitors. The anger of this group is fed much less by any ethical concerns than by their financial interest, because without a contract with us, they can no longer earn affiliate commissions. B, operators of large ASE communities who have not previously rented their servers from us because they have hosted them themselves or rented them from competitors. We haven't stood in the way of this group, even before the DRM removal. They could continue to host their servers themselves. They just needed to register with us. The reason we installed this process with Wildcard is to prevent our economic risk of lending and co-financing production from ending in a fiasco for us, because hosting large communities could inadvertently become a loophole for competitors. That was perfectly legitimate. And, as I said, doesn't prevent large communities from hosting their own servers. Unfortunately, much disinformation has been spread here, especially by a few content creators. I've already discussed their motives. Which brings us to our learnings. The 10,000 or more followers rule that we have established as a prerequisite for registering large communities was too high. Also, we've seen that it's too easy to disinform. We should consider having ASA marketed by Apex Hosting as well. This would take into account the fact that there are people who have had a bad experience with Nitrado over the years and prefer another hoster. Fair enough. The criticism that can still be read now that the DRM has been removed relates almost without exception to the price we charge. Besides the criticism regarding the so-called monopoly I've already gone into above. The price we charge is based on our costs, and those are significantly higher than comparable games due to ASA's RAM consumption. Changing that is Studio Wildcard's job. We can't help. So the accusation by some that we are exploiting a monopoly and charging far too high prices is pure nonsense. You can only make this accusation if you know nothing about hosting. If those who make this criticism would ask for a price for a server from a general performance ratio is significantly better than that of a general hoster. The fact that few understand this is something we have to live with. Don't be unsettled. 1. We of course adhere to our high ethical principles and the competition law. Statements to the contrary are nonsense. 2. Neither we nor our lawyers see it as a violation of competition law that we took a risk and are now reaping the rewards. That is the essence of entrepreneurial action. That's what built the market economics we all benefit from as citizens today. 3. Our contract with Snail on ASA is as watertight as possible. We did our job. The $4 million risk dictated that. The fact that the DRM has been removed does not affect our commercial exclusivity. Let me end this posting with a look at what I perceived in our company over the past few days. I've worked in many companies. Never before have I seen what I saw on these 2 days. An entire company taking responsibility for the company's service or product in that way. Dozens of people with only a few hours of sleep are on fire day and night to solve for our customers, players, and studios alike any problem that comes up at blatant speed. Slack channels have been on fire. Individuals repeatedly took responsibility for challenges within minutes, coordinated, put themselves in the driver's seat without being asked, and involved others in solving newly emerged problems. Never before have I seen so many so willing to go the extra mile. If any proof is needed to believe that Nitrado could go very far with those teams, the last 2 days would have been 100% proof. You should all be very proud of yourselves and your colleagues and of what you have accomplished. I promise you, with this strength, we will go far. I am convinced of that. That's what I'm seeing from the interest in other studios and publishers that we're talking to confidentially right now. Stay tuned, 2024 will be great. Yours, Raphael. So, yeah, this was actually leaked to Reddit, this statement from Raphael. And, you know, he makes some valid points in here, but he also comes off a little smarmy in some regards, you know. Now, granted, yeah, video games aren't a human right. You know, they're not a human right by any means, not by any stretch of the imagination. This is a problem that, you know, we're lucky to be upset about. If this is the worst thing that's bothering you in your life, then you're a very fortunate person, because there are a lot of people out there suffering way worse things than this. But, you know, as far as the investment goes, the $4 million investment, yeah, they made a deal with Snail Games and Wildcard. They invested $4 million, which is probably just a drop in the bucket, to be honest with you, as far as the budget of this game goes. I mean, Snail, you know, I guess Nitrado had Snail Games over the barrel here, pretty much, and Snail Games just they screwed up by doing this. You know, they let this happen. They made this bad deal. They're the real villain here. That doesn't, you know, That doesn't help the current situation at all. That doesn't help the fact that you can't go to any other provider out there to host your server. You're stuck with Nitrado or running your own server out of your house. But yeah, I would put the blame on Snail Games for this. They have a notorious reputation for wasting money. I understand they spent billions on a failed electric car project, and defaulting on payments for months to Nitrado for hosting their servers. That's just bad, very, very bad. I guess the $4 million was probably kind of like an end of the line loan to get them over the finish line for ASA. I guess they could have shut off the servers prior to the date that they were shut off. That kind of explains why they were shut off so quickly too, because Snail Games is indebted to them so much. Because you figure, even with ASA coming out, there's still going to be tons of people playing ASE for a while now. Guys that don't have the rig to play the new game, they don't have a computer that can handle it. People on last generation consoles, stuff like that. People that just like the game as it is and don't want an upgrade. I mean, that's a group of people out there, So you would figure they would still host some servers, but apparently that wasn't in the cards, so to speak. So yeah, and is this a monopoly? No, he does make a valid point. They made an investment and all that, but man, Snail Games kind of sold their soul for $4 million. And again, I don't know what the total budget of this game was. If any of you know, let me know down in the comments what was spent on this game. I'm sure an internet sleuth could figure it out, and it's probably public knowledge to some degree. Who knows? I don't dig too much into that kind of stuff. I'm just more about the gameplay itself and all that, and I'm kind of monitoring this game and trying to keep you up to date on any and all news that's popping up. Now, we still haven't heard anything about console dates yet. As of this time, this is, the 2nd that I'm filming this, so this will be coming out on the 3rd of November. But, the word on the street is, soon we're going to find out some more information. Will we see it in a community crunch tonight? I hope so. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. I'll tell you that. Snail Games, Wildcard, they've always delayed stuff for console throughout my entire time playing ASE, and I really shouldn't be surprised they did it again with ASA, but boy, they sounded confident, and they sold me that bill of goods, man. I thought they were going to be there. But whatever, it is what it is at this point. Let me know what you think down below. You think this guy had a valid argument here? In some ways he did, but, and again, looking at this from the context of this is something that he sent internally to his company and his employees, I guess, the posturing and the smarminess in it is valid. You want to kind of rally your team up a little bit. You want to pump yourself up and your team up a little bit. But getting this leaked out, oof, I'm sure he wasn't happy about that, I don't know. I'm hoping to pop up here in the next couple days and say, hey, we got a console release date, and then start producing content for this game. But until then, we're going to keep talking about the updates and the news and all that kind of BS that's going on with it. So hit that like button if you enjoyed this at all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. As always, I'm Captain Beefy. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you next time. Until then, peace.